Hello everyone, my name is Tonya Jackson. I am the Project Director for Training at CA. This series of short videos is intended to assist you with the transition from the 2016 training program to CA2025. Each video links to a guidance document or a template, and in some instances both, and I highly recommend that as you watch these videos, you keep the templates and the guidance on hand so that you can pause and refer to either one of them as makes sense for you as you move through this video series. The videos will deal with various aspects of the transition phase, including creating a training plan, recognition of prior learning, what the learning outcomes could look like for the professional values and attitudes in practice, and the assessment of proficiency under the new framework. So let's just pause for a moment and think about that. So the training plan that we're talking about includes an integrated exposure plan and the expected levels of proficiency for the trainees in your office. We'll go into a lot more detail in that particular video, but basically you need to set this up right at the beginning because it forms an integral part of the assessment of competence or the assessment of proficiency under the CA 2025 training program. It's going to be one of the first things that you need to do in your training office. We're also going to consider how to recognize prior learning, and that's only for those trainees where you're going to bring some across from the 2016 training program to the CA 2025 program. If you make the decision in your office that you're not going to do that, and you're only going to train new trainees that you bring on into CA 2025, then that component will be irrelevant for you. We're also going to look at what the professional values and attitudes and acumens could look like in practice. And that's really drilling down into some of the learning outcomes and seeing what that could mean in your particular training office. And of course, we'll also cover briefly the assessment of proficiency under the new framework and the use of the decision trees. Remember that these videos are only one component of the guidance that CA is providing. So for example, with the assessment of proficiency, there's going to be some detailed training that you can use to upskill the various role players in the assessment process, trainees, reviewers, evaluators, assessors, so that they can understand the difference between assessing or being assessed on the 2016 program, the TSRs, PSRs, ANAs, and moving across to CA 2025, and how the assessment of proficiency in the learning outcomes for the professional values, attitudes, and acumens looks different in CA 2025. And it's also possible that we're going to run these two training programs for some time parallel to each other. So any training that CA offers going forward for reviewers, evaluators, and assessors will cover both programs so that they're able to deal with trainees on the 2016 program and trainees under CA 2025. Remember that the principles of assessment still stay the same. So a lot of the training is really around the differences in terms of the assessment instruments and also the use of the decision trees and the different elements where the reviewer, for example, gets involved or where the evaluator needs to make a decision. So it's just those slight differences that the upskilling training will cover, not this video series. So just bear that in mind. You're also welcome to jump into any of our question and answer sessions, which we're going to be running regularly over the next, 8 months until 30 June 2022, really right throughout the transition phase. So please keep bringing your questions. The more we hear them, we can also then update our frequently asked questions list, and we can also make sure and just keep checking in that we're still on track with this transition phase. You will also have the opportunity to book a one-on-one session with a consultant if you would like to discuss the specifics in your training office. We do recommend that you've gone through at least some of the guidance and attempted certain components like looking at your training plan and making some considerations around the professional values, attitudes, acumens, learning outcomes, and how that's kind of going to play out in your training office before you jump into one of those sessions. Come to one of the general Q&A sessions first, ask some of the general questions, and then when you're ready to get into a little bit of the detail around your specific training environment and how you're going to implement CA 2025, by all means book a session with a consultant and let them help you with the specifics. So what is the first decision that you need to make? You need to decide which of your trainees you're going to bring onto CA 2025. That will inform which of the guidance will be relevant for you and which you can actually put to one side. So CA's requirement is that you need to bring all trainees with contracts ending 31 December 2024 or later onto the training program. So that means that any trainees starting on 3-year contracts in 2022 will come onto CA 2025. You can then make the decision about your existing trainees. So let's just quickly talk about 4- and 5-year trainees. Trainees on 4- and 5-year contracts, again, if the contract ends 31 December 2024 or later, you need to bring them onto CA 2025. But there are some other considerations usually with those trainees. Academic remission plays a part. Sometimes there's recognition of prior learning, and that can apply for a 3-year training contract as well. Similarly, there might be an extension that you think is a possibility, or there might be a suspension that you're already aware might be happening that will impact the end date of the training contract. In January 2022, please take a step back, have a look at the assumptions around the trainees in your training office, and make the decision based on the best information that you have at that time. If you're aware that one of your trainees is going to go into maternity leave, and that's going to mean that the contract now falls beyond 31 December 2024, please take that into consideration. If you strongly believe that one of your trainees is going to finish their degree within a certain period of the training contract, and therefore you're going to take 12 months off, you can also take that into consideration in deciding what the end date of that training contract is going to be. Obviously, things happen. You are going to think that the trainee will finish earlier and they don't, or you think that something's going to happen to change that contract end date and it doesn't. And that's fine. That's why I'm saying in January, make the decision, and then we'll allow it to play out, and we'll work with you on that. So that's the first decision that you need to make. If you decide to bring trainees across from the 2016 program onto CA 2025, we would recommend that any trainee that only has 12 months left in their contract remain on the 2016 program. 12 months is just a little too short to bring that trainee up to speed and allow them to obtain the required level of proficiency by the end of the training contract. If you have trainees that you are wanting to bring across, we do need to talk about recognition of prior learning, and we recommend that you start as soon as possible. We are implementing in January 2022, but really we're calling it a soft start so that you've got 6 months in which to bring all of your trainees up to speed, to complete your recognition of prior learning, make sure that your training plan is ready, make sure that all the role players in the assessment process understand the requirements around assessment. And at that point, as soon as you're ready, you can bring them onto the electronic assessment tool. The electronic assessment tool is going to be available from January 2022. But again, we're not expecting you to bring anyone onto that tool until 30 June 2022. So please don't wait until 30 June 2022, but at any point when you're ready in that period of time, start bringing your trainees on as they're ready to come on. Remember, you've got the time to upskill. If your reviewers need to go through the same e-learning again and again just to make sure that they completely understand the requirements, by all means do that, and start preparing yourself in that period of time. I look forward to taking these next steps with you. I hope that this video series is useful to you, and please, if you have any questions, you're welcome to email me, to call me, to jump into one of our Q&A sessions. Please bring all of your questions. We're very happy to work with you as you take these next steps. Thank you.